thanks for listening. This is Brian Hurley from Business Performance Improvement. The podcast Lean Six Sigma Bursts are short lessons, comments, Q&A, and insights. If you have a question, send your question through the Anchor app, and we might feature you on a future episode. Or contact me at biz-pi.com. Let's take a look at some data from the Denver Sheriff's Department. They were looking at intake use of force, and they tracked their data from June 2018 to June 2019. And they said that there was a 22% decrease in use of force incidences. And if you look at the data, you can see that there's a yellow line drawn through on the left side and a yellow line drawn through the right side. So they said that the 22% came from the reduction in incidences. So it went from 245 to 191. So on the surface, that looks like a slight reduction in the use. If you look at the average of the numbers, a better way would look at it by month, right, to see if that's actually true. So you get 35 use of force incidences per month compared to 32 roughly after they made some changes. So there is a slight reduction there. But the way we'd want to do this is actually look at it from a statistical standpoint. And so when you look at the variability in those numbers, is this really a reduction in use of force? As you can see on the left side, you had a 21 and a 49. And on the right side, you had a 23, but also a 35. And so part of the statistics will tell us if it actually made a difference or not. And when you do the statistics, there's a p-value that can be calculated to determine if that difference is due to chance or if it's a real difference. And that number is 0.484, which is above 0.05. That means that it cannot detect a difference between those two groups, or there's not enough data yet to pick up that difference. So there might be a small reduction in the use of force, but it's not statistically valid yet. And so two things were going on here. One is that number of incidences was not a fair way to look at it because the number of months aren't even the same. So there's a different number of months being looked at. One has 6 months, the other has 7 months. So that's not apples to apples. And also the factoring in the variability in those numbers makes something that looks like a reduction that's not statistically valid at this point. Maybe with a few more months, we might see that, yes, that is a statistical reduction, but we'd also want to look at it more from 35 versus 32, not 245 versus 191. So this example was something I noticed that may be confusing or might try to promote some kind of reduction when there really isn't one. And we see this in lots of different cases that graphically we're trying to draw conclusions when statistics won't back that up. Let me pause for a moment to tell you about our sponsor, Creative Safety Supply. Creative Safety Supply is a great resource for free guides, infographics, and continuous improvement tools. I recommend starting with their 5S guide. It includes breakdowns of the 5 pillars, ways to begin implementing 5S, and even organization tips and color charts. From red tags to floor markings, it's all there. Download it for free at creativesafetysupply.com/5S. So if we take a look at an example, here's a simple regression analysis or ANOVA where we're comparing our output results with some kind of category. So when I did some work with a nonprofit, we had questions that came up about when should we send out our newsletter? What gets the best click-throughs or open rates that's going to reach our audience? And so instead of just saying, well, we looked at a website and they say Wednesday mornings are great times to send it out, I wanted to look at the data and say, what is our past history said about our rates? Have we had successes or bad results from what we have sent out? Because we didn't really have a lot of structure in when those emails were sent out. And so we can analyze data like that. And so I had to go find all the past newsletters, look at the date and time when it was sent out, group that into the day of the week or time of day. And then I looked at click-through rates and open rates to see if there's some relationship or some patterns we could learn from that. And what we found was the click-through rates and the open rates didn't always correlate. So just because someone opens the email doesn't mean they're going to click onto the web page or the link that we put in there. So that was surprising to people. We also saw that in general, we didn't see a difference between the day of the week when we sent out the newsletter. We'd see variation in it, but it wasn't like a consistency that it always gets higher rates on certain days. Maybe it could be the time of day, so morning, lunch, or afternoons. And we could see that there was no difference when you sent it out. It all kind of averaged out to about the same. So that gave us a lot less concern about we got to get it ready by Wednesday or it's going to miss our window.
Whether you work in a manufacturing company, at a hospital, within a government agency, or volunteer at a nonprofit organization or NGO, continuous improvement is necessary and essential. For the past 25 years, I've been helping organizations implement Lean and Six Sigma methods into their culture. And I've compiled all this knowledge into the 7 best practices that are essential to any organization. If you sign up with your email, you will receive a link to the YouTube video, you will receive an audio podcast, and a summary document you can download. The video takes less than 30 minutes to listen to, and it will help you fully leverage the power of these methods and ensure your organization has a solid improvement culture and foundation. Go to biz-pi.com and look for the 7 continuous improvement best practices document.